You never think your 15-year marriage is going to end because of a hotel receipt. You expect something dramatic. You expect to catch them in the act. You expect to find love letters or credit card statements or lipstick on a collar. But when I discovered my wife had destroyed our marriage, it happened on a Tuesday afternoon in March in the crew lounge at Sky Harbor Airport. I was reviewing my flight plan for the evening Phoenix to Denver route when my phone buzzed. It was a text from Megan, one of our senior flight attendants, a woman I had worked with for 5 years, someone who kept her mouth shut and never caused drama in the crew room. "Hey Brady, really sorry to bother you, but I think you need to see this. Found it cleaning out the lost and found." And then the photo loaded. It was a hotel receipt from the Grand Resort downtown. The guest name read, Kimberly Sullivan, my wife. But what made my blood run cold was the itemized charges. Room service for 2. Champagne. Service. Late checkout fee. And at the bottom, a handwritten note from housekeeping. "Happy anniversary! Hope you enjoyed your romantic getaway." I stared at that receipt for a full minute without breathing. This was from February 14th, Valentine's Day. The weekend Kimberly claimed she was attending a marketing conference in Tucson for her hotel chain. The weekend she came home exhausted, claiming the seminars ran late and the networking was brutal. The weekend she barely touched me when she crawled into bed Sunday night. Megan sent another text. "Guest left it in seat 12A on my Los Angeles flight yesterday. Figured you should know before someone else found it. I'm sorry, Brady. Thanks for telling me, Megan. I owe you one." The fluorescent lights of the crew lounge suddenly felt too harsh. My wife of 15 years had been lying to me, and she was sloppy enough to leave evidence on a commercial flight. Let me back up and give you some context about who we were, before everything fell apart. I am a regional airline pilot for Desert Sky Airlines. I have been flying commercial for 10 years, with another 5 years in the Air National Guard before that. I make $85,000 a year flying routes throughout the Southwest. Not United or Delta money, but solid middle-class income with excellent benefits and a pension plan that will be worth close to $400,000 when I retire. I also instruct new pilots on weekends at the flight training school near Deer Valley Airport. $20,000 extra a year, teaching guys how to handle crosswinds and emergency procedures. Between the airline and instruction work, I clear about $105,000 annually, enough to afford our 3-bedroom house in Glendale with a 15-year mortgage that we are 8 years into paying off, and still put money away for retirement. My airline retirement fund currently holds about $180,000 after 10 years of contributions. My wife, Kimberly, is a marketing coordinator for Oasis Resort Group. She has been with them for 5 years, ever since she left her job at the Phoenix Convention Center. She organizes corporate events and handles client entertainment for their luxury properties. $70,000 a year, plus bonuses when her events exceed revenue targets. She is good at what she does, really good. Her job requires travel, 2 or 3 trips per month to resort properties in Scottsdale, Sedona, and Tucson. Sometimes overnight stays when she is coordinating multi-day corporate retreats. Sometimes weekend travel for high-end wedding events. And I supported it completely. Take the time you need to build your career. I would handle things at home while she chased her professional goals. The travel schedule meant irregular hours, late nights preparing proposals, weekend calls with demanding clients, phone conferences during dinner. I became the support system for her ambitions. Cooking, most meals, handling the yard work and maintenance, managing our finances while she focused on climbing the corporate ladder. And somewhere along the way, she decided I was not good enough anymore. Looking back now, the signs were obvious, or maybe I saw them and chose to interpret them differently. New clothes for every business trip, designer outfits that cost more than my monthly flight pay, spa treatments before traveling, hair and nails done religiously every 2 weeks instead of monthly. Our joint credit card statements started showing charges I did not recognize. Her travel stories became more elaborate. Clients who were charming and sophisticated, business dinners at exclusive restaurants, private events at country clubs where she networked with wealthy resort guests. She would come home energized in ways I had not seen in years, talking about connections she was making, opportunities opening up. I thought it was career ambition, professional networking, building relationships that would advance her position with the company. Nothing seemed wrong with a marketing coordinator, socializing with high-end clientele. That was literally her job description. But starting in December, 3 months before that receipt landed in my lap, the travel pattern changed. Instead of predictable monthly trips to established resort properties, she started taking last-minute assignments, emergency client meetings, rush projects that required immediate travel, always to the grand resort downtown, always overnight stays, always coming home the next day claiming exhaustion. Who schedules emergency marketing meetings at luxury hotels? What kind of client crisis requires overnight coordination in downtown Phoenix when we live 20 minutes away? And why was every emergency happening at the same property? Her phone habits changed too. Constant texting during dinner, stepping outside to take calls, her device face down on every surface, password protection that had never existed before. When I asked about it, the explanation was always work-related. Confidential client information, resort industry privacy requirements, corporate policies about personal device security. And every time she came home from these emergency assignments, she looked different, relaxed in ways that had nothing to do with successful business meetings, satisfied, like someone who had just gotten exactly what they wanted. Sitting in that crew lounge staring at her hotel receipt, the truth crystallized with the same clarity I used to read weather patterns at 30,000 feet. Not working late, not handling client emergencies, building a relationship with someone else. A wealthy guest at the resort where she coordinates events. Someone with money to spend on champagne and romantic anniversary getaways. The Valentine's Day timing made it even worse. While I was home alone thinking she was advancing her career in Tucson, she was celebrating the most romantic day of the year with another man in a luxury hotel suite 20 minutes from our house. I finished my pre-flight checklist in mechanical silence, walked through the terminal to my gate, performed the safety briefing for a cabin full of passengers heading to Denver, and the entire time, my brain was calculating approach vectors for a very different kind of landing. How long had this been going on? Who was he? Where did they meet? How many times had she lied to my face? Was it a guest at one of her events? A business contact from another company? How many times had she celebrated relationship milestones with him, while I sat at home thinking she was building her career? But the most important question formed somewhere over Flagstaff as we climbed to our cruising altitude. What was I going to do about it? Confronting her that night was an option. Wave the receipt in her face and demand explanations. Scream and cry and threaten to call her boss. Beg her to end it and try to rebuild our marriage. But none of that would work, because if I confronted her, she would just get better at hiding it, delete the evidence, change her methods, gaslight me about being paranoid and controlling. I would never know the full scope of what I was dealing with. Never know how deep the betrayal went. Never know if she actually stopped or just got smarter about covering her tracks. So a plan formed at cruising altitude somewhere over the Colorado River. Stay silent. Act like nothing had changed. Continue being the supportive husband who asks about her day and cooks dinner and handles the domestic responsibilities. And while maintaining that facade, build a case that would destroy her when the time came. Document everything. Secure our assets. Find a lawyer who specialized in adultery cases. And when I had enough evidence to win decisively, execute a flight plan that would leave her with nothing but the wreckage of her own choices. The approach to Denver that evening was textbook smooth, clear weather, minimal traffic, perfect touchdown on runway 34L. My passengers probably thought I was having a great day. Really, I was just beginning to understand how systematic thinking and methodical execution could be applied to problems that had nothing to do with aviation. The drive home from Sky Harbor felt longer than my cross-country flights. Kimberly was already there when I walked through the front door, sitting at the kitchen counter in her work clothes, scrolling through her phone while picking at a salad. She looked up with the same smile she had been giving me for 15 years. "How was Denver?" "Smooth flight. Weather was perfect." "That's good. I might have to travel this weekend. Emergency planning session for a new client." And there it was. Another lie delivered with the same casual tone she used to discuss grocery lists or weekend plans. Another emergency assignment that would conveniently require an overnight stay at the Grand Resort. Another opportunity to celebrate whatever milestone she was reaching with her secret relationship. Sounds important. Take the time you need. We sat at the kitchen table eating leftover pasta and talking about her latest client requirements like we were a normal married couple. But I was watching everything differently now. The way she angled her phone screen away when notifications appeared. The way she smiled, reading text messages. The way she checked the time every few minutes like she was expecting something. After dinner, I claimed fatigue from the turnaround flight schedule, early bedtime to prepare for tomorrow's Phoenix to San Antonio route. She planned to stay up reviewing client proposals. I kissed her forehead the same way I had for years and headed upstairs, but I did not go to sleep. An hour later, I heard her car start in the driveway. Through the bedroom window, I watched her back out and drive toward downtown Phoenix. At 10:30 on a Tuesday, night, for a client emergency that could not wait until morning. I gave her 20 minutes, then got dressed and drove to the Grand Resort myself. Her white Honda Civic was in the valet parking area, the same car I had helped her pick out 3 years ago when we traded in her old Camry, the same car she claimed was parked at the airport during her fake business trips to Tucson, sitting right there in plain sight while my wife celebrated her secret relationship with another man. I did not go inside, did not confront them, did not make a scene that would give her time to prepare defenses or destroy evidence. Instead, I took photos of her car with timestamps, documented her location at a time when she claimed to be working late at the office, added another piece to the case file that would eventually bury her. The drive home took 15 minutes. I was back in bed by midnight, pretending to be asleep. When she returned at 2:15 in the morning, she slipped into the bathroom for a shower before sliding into bed next to me. The same routine she had probably been following since December. But now I knew exactly what I was dealing with. And Kimberly Sullivan had no idea that her husband, the pilot, had just begun planning the most important flight of his career. The next morning, I called in a personal day and drove to the offices of Campbell & Associates, a law firm in Central Phoenix specializing in divorce cases involving adultery. Reed Campbell had handled the divorce of another pilot in our crew 2 years ago, clean, decisive, and absolutely ruthless when it came to protecting his client's assets. So, you have proof of an ongoing affair? Campbell reviewed the hotel receipt and my documentation of her travel lies. This is just the beginning. She thinks I don't know. I want to build a case that will destroy her in court. In Arizona, we have no-fault divorce laws, but proof of adultery can still impact property division and spousal support, especially if she spent marital assets on the affair. How much access do you have to financial records? Complete access, joint accounts, credit cards, everything. Perfect. Document every suspicious charge, hotel bills, restaurants, gifts. If she spent your money on another man, we can argue for dissipation of marital assets. Keep a journal of her lies and whereabouts. Photos, timestamps, anything that proves deception. Campbell leaned back in his leather chair. Given your airline retirement fund and pension value, plus the house equity, we're looking at significant assets to protect. Your current retirement account balance of $180,000 plus future pension benefits worth approximately $400,000 at retirement age makes this a high-stakes case. How long do we wait before filing? Until we have enough evidence to win decisively. She won't see it coming, and by the time papers are served, it will be too late for her to hide anything or drain accounts. What about our house? We still owe 7 years on the mortgage, but the equity is probably around $90,000. Marital property, but adultery can influence how the court divides it. If she abandoned the marriage for another man, especially if she moved out voluntarily, you have a strong case for keeping the house. Campbell handed me his card. Be smart, be patient. The best revenge is preparation. Document everything, but don't let her know you're building a case. When we file, it will be overwhelming and decisive. I spent the next day at Papago Park, sitting on the hiking trails overlooking the city, planning my systematic approach. This would require the same methodical thinking I use for complex flight operations. Weather analysis, fuel calculations, alternate airports, emergency procedures, every contingency planned in advance. For the next 8 weeks from mid-March through early May, I lived a double life that would have impressed any undercover operative. During the day, I was the same supportive husband I had always been, asking about her work, listening to stories about difficult clients and successful events, encouraging her to take whatever travel assignments would advance her career. But every evening when she left for her fake emergency meetings, I became a different person entirely. A systematic investigator building the most important case of my life. The financial evidence was devastating. Our joint Visa card showed a pattern of expensive dinners at restaurants I had never been to. Kai Restaurant at the Phoenician, FNB in Old Town Scottsdale, the Capitol Grill downtown, wine tastings at exclusive venues in Paradise Valley, shopping trips to men's luxury boutiques where she bought gifts we could never afford on our combined salaries, $200 charges at a custom menswear shop on Camelback Road, $500 wine purchases from Cave Creek Cellars, $300 charge at Tiffany & Co. in Scottsdale Fashion Square. She was spending our money to buy presents for her affair partner, not even trying to hide the transactions, probably thinking I was too trusting or too busy with flight schedules to check our statements. Every charge was screenshot and saved to a secure folder on my laptop, organized by date with detailed notes about her, claimed whereabouts during each purchase. The evidence file grew larger every week, while she continued lying to my face about working late. My surveillance journal documented everything with pilot-level precision. March 18th. Left house. 7:45 p.m. Claiming client emergency. Returned 1:30 a.m. New perfume smell, disheveled appearance. March 22nd, emergency weekend assignment. Gone. Saturday 2 p.m. to Sunday. 11 a.m. Credit card shows $180 dinner at Mastro's Ocean Club. March 25th, late meeting excuse. Gone 8 p.m. to 2:15 a.m. Wearing new dress I had never seen before. April 1st, overnight. Assignment in Sedona claimed. Car never left Phoenix metro area, according to mileage check. Every entry included photos of her departure outfit, return condition, and mileage readings. I treated it like aircraft maintenance logs. Systematic, detailed, irrefutable. 3 weeks into my investigation, Megan provided another crucial piece of evidence. She had been working first-class service on flights to Los Angeles and recognized a man from the hotel receipt sitting in seat 2A. Wealthy-looking guy in expensive clothes, traveling frequently between Phoenix and California. When she casually mentioned working with pilots based in Phoenix, he started asking questions about the flying lifestyle and whether pilots' wives ever got lonely during long trips. "I think this is your guy, Brady. He was fishing for information about you specifically. Asked if I knew any pilots married to women in the hotel industry. Too much of a coincidence. Preston Walker. That was his name, according to Megan's passenger manifest research, a real estate developer from Orange County who stayed at the Grand Resort during business trips to Phoenix. Twice monthly visits that perfectly match Kimberly's emergency assignment schedule. A wealthy married man using my wife for entertainment during his business travels. Probably told her he was separated or getting divorced. Probably promised her a future that involved leaving her small-time pilot husband for a life of luxury in California. Kimberly was trading our 15-year marriage for the fantasy of becoming the mistress of a rich man who saw her as convenient temporary companionship. During one of my evening surveillance runs to the Grand Resort, I photographed Preston's rental car in the valet area, a silver BMW 7 Series that probably cost more than I made in a year. The license plate led to more research. Orange County address in Newport Beach. Property records showing a $4 million house. Business registration. For Walker Development Group. This guy had serious money, the kind of wealth that could turn a marketing coordinator's head. The kind of lifestyle that would make a middle-class pilot husband look like a stepping stone to something better. But what Kimberly did not know was that Preston Walker was married. His social media showed family photos from Christmas, wife, and 2 teenage kids. The house in Newport Beach was community property. His business trips to Phoenix were legitimate real estate development meetings, but his relationship with my wife was just a convenient side benefit. She was gambling our marriage on a man who would never leave his California family for a Phoenix hotel coordinator. She was destroying everything we had built for 4 months of luxury hotel fantasy with someone who saw her as disposable entertainment. 8 weeks of evidence collection gave me everything Campbell needed for total victory. Hotel receipts showing the affair timeline, credit card, statements proving she spent marital assets on gifts for Preston, photos of her car at the Grand Resort during times when she claimed to be working late, text message logs showing gaps in communication that aligned with her overnight stays. But the most damaging evidence came from Preston Walker himself. Megan had been tracking his travel schedule through crew rotation schedules. He flew Phoenix to Los Angeles every other Friday, returning the following Monday. Always booking first-class seats, always staying at the Grand Resort, always requesting the same suite, according to hotel staff Megan knew from previous airline partnerships. During one conversation, Megan mentioned that hotel marketing coordinators probably worked crazy schedules during resort season. Preston laughed and said the one he knew only worked when it was convenient for their relationship. The Grand Resort gave them privacy, and his wife in California never questioned business travel expenses. He was bragging about the affair to airline crew members, treating my wife like a convenient business expense. And Megan was recording every word on her phone. Campbell called it the strongest adultery case he had handled in 5 years. We had proof of the affair, evidence of financial dissipation, documentation of systematic deception, and third-party testimony about the relationship. When we filed, it would be a massacre. By early May, I had documented over $12,000 in suspicious charges, 43 instances of proven lies about her whereabouts, and photographic evidence of her presence at the Grand Resort on 17 different occasions when she claimed to be working elsewhere. But before pulling the trigger, I decided to give Kimberly one last opportunity to confess. Not because I wanted reconciliation, because I wanted to watch her lie to my face one final time before destroying her world. The trap was set. The evidence was overwhelming. All that remained was executing the flight plan that would leave her with nothing but the consequences of her choices. On a Thursday evening in early May, after she claimed another emergency client meeting, I sat her down in our living room overlooking the Estrella Mountains, the same couch where we had planned our future 15 years ago, the same room where she had lied to me countless times over the past 4 months. Kimberly, I need to ask you something important. Is there anything about your work travel that you think I should know? Any situations that might affect our marriage? She looked directly into my eyes and lied with the same confidence she used to discuss quarterly revenue targets. Nothing at all, Brady. Just the usual client demands and event coordination. Why are you asking? Just wanted to make sure you felt supported. These emergency assignments seem more frequent lately. The resort industry is competitive. When clients need something, we have to respond immediately. That's how I keep my job. Perfect. She had just committed perjury in her own living room. Campbell would love adding this conversation to our evidence file. I understand completely. Take whatever assignments you need. I'll always be here supporting your career. She hugged me. Actually hugged me while lying about destroying our marriage. The audacity was almost impressive. 2 days later, she came home with news that would seal her fate. Brady, I need to talk to you about something important. We sat on the same couch where she had lied to me 48 hours earlier. I haven't been happy for a while now. Our marriage feels more like a roommate situation than a partnership. I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore. Here we go. The speech she had probably practiced in Preston's hotel suite. I've been thinking about this for months, and I think I need some space to figure out what I want. Is there someone else? The pause was exactly 1 second too long. I counted it. No, Brady. This is about me finding myself. I want to take a leave of absence from work and stay with my sister in California for a few months. Another lie. She did not have a sister in California. She was moving in with Preston Walker. I understand. I want you to be happy. Take all the time you need. She looked surprised, had probably expected begging or emotional outbursts. Instead, I was giving her exactly what she wanted. Permission to abandon our marriage for her affair partner. Are you sure you're okay with this? I'm fine, Kimberly. If this is what you need, then I support your decision. She packed 2 large suitcases that evening. The black Samsonite set we bought for our honeymoon in Maui. Everything necessary for moving in with another man. Standing at the front door with her bags, she looked like she expected some kind of dramatic goodbye scene. Instead, I opened the door for her and wished her luck finding what she was looking for. She drove away to begin her new life as Preston Walker's live-in mistress, and I got to work implementing the most systematic revenge operation of my aviation career. Campbell filed the divorce papers the following Monday morning at Maricopa County Superior Court. Adultery grounds with comprehensive evidence of the affair and financial dissipation. We requested exclusive possession of the marital home, division of assets reflecting her misuse of marital funds, and no alimony due to her abandonment and adultery. My employer's credit union received immediate notification that I was filing for divorce and needed to protect my airline retirement fund. The account was frozen to prevent any unauthorized access, $180,000 and 15 years of pension contributions secured. Our joint bank accounts at Chase and Wells Fargo were legally frozen pending litigation. The 3 credit cards we shared were reported as disputed due to unauthorized charges related to adultery. Visa, MasterCard, and American Express all suspended the accounts within 24 hours. Within 48 hours, Kimberly Sullivan went from feeling liberated to discovering that her financial safety net had disappeared completely. She called me on Wednesday afternoon, panicked. "Brady, my credit cards aren't working. The bank said our accounts are frozen. What's going on?" I filed for divorce on Monday. Arizona law allows asset protection when adultery is involved. Silence on the other end. I could hear traffic noise in the background. She was probably calling from Preston's BMW. "You filed for divorce?" I never said anything about divorce. I just needed space. When a wife moves out to live with another man, it's called abandonment. When a wife has an affair, it's called adultery. Arizona recognizes both as grounds for immediate divorce proceedings. Another pause. Longer this time. The sound of her world crashing down. "How did you know?" Not denial. Not accusations of paranoia, not claims about needing space to find herself. How did you know? Game over. Hotel receipts, credit card statements, travel logs, third-party testimony. Preston Walker from Newport Beach, real estate developer, married with 2 kids, flies into Phoenix twice monthly for business, stays at the Grand Resort where you coordinate events. She started crying, real tears, not the manipulative kind. "Brady, please. I made a mistake. Preston and I, it's not what you think." "Actually, it's exactly what I think. You've been having an affair since December, spending our money on gifts for him and lying to my face about working late. 4 months of documentation, $12,000 in misappropriated marital assets. I want to come home. I want to work this out. Stay with Preston and figure out your next move. Don't come to the house. Showing up uninvited means I call the Phoenix police for trespassing." I hung up and turned off my phone. For the next 3 months, all communication went through Campbell's office. Her lawyer, Jennifer Martinez, from a family practice in Tempe, tried arguing for reconciliation counseling. My lawyer sent over photos of her car at the Grand Resort and credit card receipts for Preston's custom suits. Her lawyer stopped pushing for counseling. Her lawyer requested 50-50 asset division of our home equity and retirement funds. My lawyer presented evidence of financial dissipation and abandonment. Judge Patricia Reynolds ruled that marital funds spent on an extramarital relationship constituted waste of community property. Her lawyer argued for spousal support during the transition period while she rebuilt her career. My lawyer presented testimony about the affair and her voluntary employment leave to live with another man. Judge Reynolds denied spousal support entirely, ruling that abandonment for an adulterous relationship disqualified her from financial maintenance. The house with its $90,000 in equity became mine. The retirement accounts remained untouched. Even our 2019 Toyota Highlander stayed in my possession since she had voluntarily left, with only her Honda Civic. Everything was proceeding exactly according to plan. But the universe had one more surprise in store that would make my victory even sweeter. Then, 4 months after she moved out, in September, Megan called with news that changed the entire situation. "Brady, you're not going to believe this. Preston Walker was on my Los Angeles flight yesterday, alone. When I asked about his Phoenix visits, he said he wasn't traveling there anymore. Personal situation had changed." "What kind of change?" "His wife found out about the affair, apparently found hotel receipts and credit card statements just like you did. Divorce proceedings started in California. Community property laws out there are brutal. He's losing half of everything, including his business assets." I almost laughed out loud. Preston Walker's wife had conducted her own investigation. California's community property laws meant she would get half of his $4 million house, half of Walker Development Group, and half of his investment portfolio. His luxury lifestyle was about to become a lot less luxurious. "And apparently," Megan continued, "when your wife realized he wasn't the wealthy sugar daddy she thought he was becoming, well, let's just say the relationship ended badly. He told the flight attendant next to me that his Phoenix girlfriend had been using him for his money, and when the money problems started, she became demanding and unreasonable. Preston Walker was married, had been lying to Kimberly about his situation the same way she had been lying to me. When his wife discovered the affair through the same kind of evidence I had collected, California community property laws destroyed his finances. Suddenly, he could not afford to maintain a mistress in Phoenix or pay for luxury hotel suites twice monthly. Kimberly had gambled our marriage on a man who was using her for temporary entertainment while lying about his availability. When the entertainment became expensive and complicated, he discarded her exactly the way she tried to discard me. The difference was, I had seen it coming and protected myself. She was left with nothing but the consequences of trusting a liar. 2 weeks later, our mutual friend Jessica called with an update that made my victory complete. "Brady, I think you should know. Kimberly is asking people if they know about cheap apartment rentals. Preston kicked her out of his place when his divorce got messy, and she can't afford hotels anymore. Why can't she go back to work? Oasis Resort Group fired her in July. Something about using company resources for personal relationships and violating client entertainment policies. Word got around the hospitality industry that she was having affairs with resort guests. No major hotel chain in Phoenix will hire her now. Perfect. Preston Walker had been a guest at properties where Kimberly coordinated events. Their affair violated every professional ethics policy in the hospitality industry. When it became public knowledge through the divorce proceedings, her career was over. Companies like Marriott, Hilton, and Four Seasons all maintain strict policies about employee relationships with guests. She had traded our marriage, our house, our financial security, and her professional reputation for 4 months with a married man who threw her away the moment she became inconvenient. The divorce was finalized on October 15th. I kept the house with its $90,000 in equity, my airline retirement fund worth $180,000, my future pension benefits valued at $400,000, and both vehicles. Kimberly received what remained in our savings after legal fees, about $3,000, and her share of credit card debt from the affair purchases, which totaled nearly $8,000. The judge ruled that her adultery and abandonment disqualified her from spousal support. Her employment termination was a direct result of choices she made during the marriage. I was not responsible for supporting the consequences of her affair. Campbell called it the most decisive adultery case he had ever handled. 4-month timeline from filing to final judgment. Most cases drag on for over a year. Ours finished quickly because Kimberly had no leverage, no money for extended litigation, and no sympathy from Judge Reynolds. I signed the final papers on a Friday afternoon in October and drove straight home to my house in Glendale. The house I now owned outright, 7 years ahead of our original mortgage schedule. No more joint obligations, no community property entanglements, no financial ties to someone who saw me as a backup plan. That evening, I was grilling salmon on the patio when my Ring doorbell chimed. Checking the security camera, I saw Kimberly standing on the porch with the same 2 suitcases she had left with 6 months earlier. She looked like she had aged 5 years and half a year. Exhausted, desperate, defeated. Her hair was unkempt. Her clothes looked like they came from discount stores. And she had lost probably 20 pounds. Not the confident marketing coordinator who left to pursue her upgrade. A broken woman who finally understood the consequences of her choices. I did not open the door. Instead, I spoke through the Ring doorbell system. "What do you want, Kimberly?" "Brady, I made a terrible mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. Preston was married. He lied to me about everything. When his wife found out, he blamed me for the affair and threw me out." "Where are you staying?" "Extended stay motel near Sky Harbor. I lost my job, my savings, everything. I know I don't deserve it, but could I stay here just until I get back on my feet?" Looking at her through the camera, I felt the same emotional detachment I use to handle emergency procedures at altitude. No anger, no satisfaction, no pity. Just systematic assessment of a situation that no longer affected my flight plan. "No. Brady, please. We were married for 15 years. We were married for 15 years, past tense. The divorce was finalized last week." She started crying. Not the manipulative tears from our phone conversation months ago. Genuine desperation from someone who finally understood she had destroyed everything good in her life for a fantasy. "I have nowhere else to go. You made your choice when you created that Valentine's Day celebration at the Grand Resort. You made your choice when you spent $12,000 of our dollars buying gifts for Preston. You made your choice when you moved out to live with him. I was stupid. I was selfish. Threw away everything good for someone who was using me. Yes, you did. Can't we try again? Can't we rebuild what we had? What we had was a marriage where I supported your career while you planned your exit strategy. What we had was me handling domestic responsibilities while you texted your affair partner during dinner. What we had was me trusting you while you celebrated relationship milestones with a married man. I know I hurt you. I know I destroyed everything. But doesn't 15 years mean anything? It meant everything to me. It meant nothing to you when you decided to throw it away. I turned off the doorbell speaker and went back to grilling my dinner. She spent 40 minutes on that porch crying and pleading. Eventually, she gave up and left. Where she went that night, I will never know. Where she is now, I do not care. Today I am sitting in my house that I own completely. On my patio, overlooking the South Mountains with a beer and zero regrets. Still flying for Desert Sky Airlines. Still instructing on weekends at Deer Valley. But now, every dollar I earn is mine. No supporting someone who does not respect me. No wondering where my wife is during her emergency business meetings. No pretending everything is fine when it is not. She wanted freedom from our boring marriage. She got exactly what she wanted. And so did I.